My name is Reverend Mrs. Chinelo Dilimono, a pastor and an etiquette consultant, and I'm here to witness the induction of trainees being trained by the OIC and the YEEC. I really believe in the Nigerian youth, and I believe that there is greatness in us. I believe that through the programs being provided by the YEEC and the OIC, combined, collaborating through the different programs that we have, the oil and gas training, the professional photography, many professional courses that are being done. I want to encourage every single youth to come for these trainings and to be empowered for their future. My expectations from these trainings is that we would have better trained people, youth who have been empowered to be able to use their skills and their abilities to better their lives and to better our nation. I believe that by the time you've attended any of these trainings or a combination of the trainings, your life will be better for it. Nobody has your future. Your future is in your hands, and your future can start when you're trained by YEEC. My name is Reverend Mrs. Chinelo Dilimono, a pastor and an etiquette consultant, and I'm here to witness the induction of trainees being trained by the OIC and the YEEC. I really believe in the Nigerian youth, and I believe that there is greatness in us. I believe that through the programs being provided by the YEEC and the OIC, combined, collaborating through the different programs that we have, the oil and gas training, the professional photography, many professional courses that are being done. I want to encourage every single youth to come for these trainings and to be empowered for their future. My expectations from these trainings is that we would have better trained people, youth who have been empowered to be able to use their skills and their abilities to better their lives and to better our nation. I believe that by the time you've attended any of these trainings or a combination of the trainings, your life will be better for it. Nobody has your future. Your future is in your hands, and your future can start when you're trained by YEEC.
Hello, my name is Engineer Kingston Silvanos, the founder of Young Engineers Entrepreneurship Club, popularly called ICA Africa. We are re-engineering the minds of the young people and engaging them in entrepreneurship so that we can industrialize Africa. We have identified unemployability, which is lack of skill set, unemployment, and access to funding for startup businesses as the bane of societal advancement, which dovetails into militancy, armed robbery, kidnapping, prostitution, terrorism, and other social vices. It is statistically proven that in every 10 high-school youths for the period of 6 months, 70% of them are most likely to get involved in these social biases, and this is the problem of our nation, Nigeria, and the continent at large. So there is their need to invest in anyone who is idle. We are providing the credible alternative to these monsters that has demonized our country, Nigeria and Africa, through Youth Space Festival. Our vision is to create jobs for the teeming African youths and build their economic self-worth. So I'm inviting all women Nigerians and Africans, corporate organizations, government, technocrats, traditional leaders, religious communities, and spiritual individuals to partner with us in this signature project. Join 10 million Africans today to train, mentor, engage, and establish 100,000 unskilled and jobless indigent youths across Nigeria and making a donation of 1,000 naira or $3 only. Our response to building the youth is a strategic response to building a peaceful, harmonious, and prosperous society. Join us to change the world today.
My name is Reverend Mrs. Chinelo Dilimono, a pastor and an etiquette consultant, and I'm here to witness the induction of trainees being trained by the OIC and the YEEC. I really believe in the Nigerian youth, and I believe that there is greatness in us. I believe that through the programs being provided by the YEEC and the OIC, combined, collaborating through the different programs that we have, the oil and gas training, the professional photography, or many professional courses that are being done for their future. My expectations from these trainings is that we would have better trained people, youths who have been empowered, their skills and their abilities to better their lives and to better our nation. I believe that by the time you've attended any of these trainings or a combination of the trainings, your life will be better for it. Nobody has your future. Your future is in your hands, and your future can start when you're trained by YEEC.
Hello, my name is Engineer Kingston Silvernos, the founder of Young Engineers Entrepreneurship Club, popularly called ICA Africa. We are re-engineering the minds of the young people and engaging them in entrepreneurship so that we can industrialize Africa. We have identified unemployability, which is lack of skill set, unemployment, and access to funding for startup businesses as the bane of societal advancement, which dovetails into militancy, armed robbery, kidnapping, prostitution, terrorism, and other social vices. It is statistically proven that in every 10 high-school youths for the period of 6 months, 70% of them are most likely to get involved in these social vices, and this is the problem of our nation, Nigeria, and the continent at large. So there is their need to invest in anyone who is idle. We are providing the credible alternative to these monsters that has demonized our country and Africa through Youth Case Festival. Our vision is to create jobs in African youths and build their economic self-worth. So I'm inviting all women Nigerians and Africans, corporate organizations, government, technocrats, traditional leaders, religious communities, and spiritual individuals to partner with us in this signature project. Join 10 million Africans today to train, mentor, engage, and establish 100,000 unskilled and jobless indigent youths across Nigeria are making a donation of ₦1,000 or $3 only. Our response to building the youth is a strategic response to building a peaceful, harmonious, and prosperous society. Join us to change the world today.
Favor accessible graduate of economics and postgraduate, that's an MSc graduate of development economics, all from the University of Port Harcourt, Nigeria.
How did you hear about Geek Africa?
Okay, I learned of Youth Africa from the president himself, who happened to be my leader, my mentor, my brother, long before now. So when he shared this vision with me, I was so excited about it because I realized I was a global vision and it was definitely going to stand the test of time. So I bought into it immediately and I registered with the platform. And honestly, it has been a wonderful experience because via this platform, I have learned what I didn't even learn in university, honestly. I'm really, really grateful and I'm happy to be a part of this project and initiative.
The young ones out there.
They have to plug into this opportunity. Honestly, we are canvassing, we are creating awareness as much as possible on social media, and we ensure that as many people that come across this program, they should key into it. So we are telling as many youth as possible to come and be a part of this because the trainings we've undergone this period, we didn't pay for it, and these are trainings that you actually spend a whole lot of money, especially in the oil and gas. You spend a whole lot of fortune to acquire this training. So every young one out there with engineering background who have dreams of becoming an entrepreneur should come and key into this Yeek Africa platform, because you will never know how far they will take you. Do you know that these trainings we've acquired, we're not just acquiring the training, they are even making plan as far as getting us employment. They are talking with organizations, and we're not paying for any of this. Honestly, every youth out there, if you hear of the name Yeek Africa, please subscribe from wherever you are.
Hello, good afternoon, Nigeria. Good afternoon, Africa. It's nice to be here again for the grand finale of the Business Development Conference hosted by the Young Engineers Entrepreneurship Club. It's been the last 5 weeks of back-to-back value given by our quintessential speakers and very men of tall standing in their field of endeavor. It has been so inspiring. It's been on the theme boundless opportunities in the new normal post-COVID, boundless opportunities in the post-COVID. In course of this conference, we've had a lot of speakers of very great repute speaking on various topical areas. We had Dr. Silva Opwala Charles, who is the president of Garden City Premier Business School. He spoke on unlocking growth and job opportunities through corporate entrepreneurship. In course of this, we had Engineer Emeka Unachukwu, the president and founder of Develop You. He spoke on securing business grants, and funding for entrepreneurship and business owners in Nigeria. We had Engineer Chief Gadomenico Masari, who is the General Manager, Danalek Limited, who spoke on the power of partnership and collaborative work plan for business development. Ladies and gentlemen, in course of this meeting again, we had the presence of Sir Franklin Dienye. Sir Franklin Dienye is the head counsel, litigation and regulatory risk management, Nigerian liquefied natural gas company. He spoke on the legal and regulatory framework for setting up businesses in Nigeria. And of course, in course of this, we also had Emeka Nobis. Emeka Nobis spoke on a very important topic, which is on innovations and latest trends. Emeka Nobis spoke on optimizing the role of Internet of Things vis-a-vis digital marketing for business development and transformation. And of course, it's been equipping, it's been educative. We've had great testimonies and testimonials coming up from all participants from all over the world. And so it is a privilege that we are hosting this program, Impacting the World, and of course, for your own business development. Today, we are going to be going into a very important session, which of course is the grand finale. And bringing this lecture to us would be the technical advisor on gas business to the Honorable Minister of Petroleum on the topic gas business in Nigeria, prospects and opportunities. Once again, I want to welcome each and every one of us to this meeting this afternoon. For those of us streaming on the various social media platform of the Young Engineers Entrepreneurship Club, those streaming live on YouTube and live on Facebook and other social media handles of the Young Engineers Entrepreneurship Club, I want to say to you that you are welcome, and I'm sure that the value that will be given here this afternoon will be one that will be of great benefit to you and of course your business. To participate and to follow in this program, I want to say that you can ask your questions, drop your comments through the comment section, and of course your questions, your contributions, as well as every other comment that you have to make that is relevant to the topic of discussion will be displayed right here, and the resource person would have a thing or two to say, especially if it's a question. Of course, it is going to be answered. And before we make progress in course of this meeting, we would want to take a welcome address by the president and founder of the Young Engineers Entrepreneurship Club. But again, while we wait for him to do that, it's also very important that I share a few things with you on what has been happening in the space of the Young Engineers Entrepreneurship Club. Of course, it is a non-governmental, non-profit organization which is saddled with the responsibility of solving the triple barrier and access to funding, unemployment, unemployability, and access to funding. These are the triple barrel problem we believe is the core of the concern of the African continent. And of course, we have the model and what it takes through collaborations, partnership with spirited individuals and all stakeholders to be able to curb this concern. Over the years, we have experienced very significant progress, especially in this area. Thanks to you, thanks to the teaming public, thanks to all of our partners and mentors, thanks to the resource persons, thanks to the leadership of this great organization, as well as every other company that have been with us in the quest to making the African continent a better one. Once again, I want to say a very big welcome to you. Thank you so very much. I see a number of persons from the various social media platforms already hooking up. Invited for this program is over 6,000 persons from different parts of Africa, especially Nigeria. I see Dr. Wisdom Enang is already here, and I'm sure we are going to hear from him in due course. Thank you very much, Dr. Wisdom. I see you. I think the president of the Young Engineers Entrepreneurship Club is set right now to give his opening speech. So in just a few seconds, I'll be bringing him up.
My name is Reverend Mrs. Chinelo Dilimono, a pastor and an etiquette consultant, and I'm here to witness the induction of trainees being trained by the OIC and the YEEC. I really believe in the Nigerian youth, and I believe that there is greatness in us. I believe that through the programs being provided by the YEEC and the OIC, combined, collaborating through the different programs that we have, the oil and gas training, the professional photography, or many professional courses that are being done, I want to encourage every single youth to come for these trainings and to be empowered for their future. My expectations from these trainings is that we would have better trained people, youth who have been empowered to be able to use their skills and their abilities to better their lives and to better our nation. I believe that by the time you've attended any of these trainings or a combination of the trainings, your life will be better for it. Nobody has your future. Your future is in your hands, and your future can start when you're trained by YEEC.
Good afternoon. Welcome once again. While we wait for the technical
Hello, my name is Engineer Kingston Silvanos, the founder of Young Engineers Entrepreneurship Club, popularly called IC Africa. We are re-engineering the minds of the young people and engaging them in entrepreneurship so that we can industrialize Africa. We have identified unemployability, which is lack of skill set, unemployment, and access to funding for startup businesses as the bane of societal advancement, which dovetails into militancy, armed robbery, kidnapping, prostitution, terrorism, and other social vices. It is statistically proven that in every 10 high school youths for the period of 6 months, 70% of them are most likely to get involved in these social vices, and this is the problem of our nation, Nigeria, and the continent at large. So there is their need to invest in anyone who is idle. We are providing a credible alternative to these monsters that has demonized our country, Nigeria and Africa, through Youth Skates Festival. Our vision is to create jobs for the teeming African youths and build their economic self-worth. So I'm inviting all women Nigerians and Africans, corporate organizations, government, technocrat, traditional leaders, religious communities, and spiritual individuals to partner with us in this signature project. Join 10 million Africans today to train, mentor, engage, and establish 100,000 of skilled and jobless indigent youths across Nigeria are making a donation of #1,000 or $3 only. Our response to building the youth is a strategic response to building a peaceful, harmonious, and prosperous society. Join us to change the world today.
Welcome once again, the president of the Young Engineers Entrepreneurship Club is ready for his welcome address so we can hit the ground running. Ladies and gentlemen, especially those of us in the live audience, help me welcome the president and founder of the Young Engineers Entrepreneurship Club, Engineer Kingston Silvanos, for his welcome address.
All right, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Good afternoon, Nigerians, Africans, who are part of this meeting, this very moment. I want to use this very session to say thank you to all our partners globally, all our friends who have identified with us, and those of you at the audience who has already been a part of this meeting. Today is the last day for this Business Development Conference 2021, the first segment, and I want to use this opportunity to thank those of you who have supported us to get to where we are. We started this Business Development Conference strategically to build young people, to build businessmen, women, to build institutions, to build industries, because we believe that when you are rightly impacted within the nation, and as well do well in your respective environment. So it's one of our practical steps as an organization is ensure that those of us who want to grow businesses, want to develop ourselves, get the right information. Hence the need that we got all these big men from their enclave, got them to talk to Nigerians, talk to Africans, businessmen, entrepreneurs, owners of companies, managers of organizations, staff, and stakeholders. Believe that if your business is doing well, definitely you expand and you take more people off the streets. That's usually our campaign. We believe that if more jobs are being created, the issue of unemployment will have been tackled, the issue crises like militancy, kidnapping, terrorism, prostitution, and all of that we have been tackling. Because statistics has proven that in every 10 idle youths, 70% of them are most likely to join these social vices has bedeviled and demonized the continent of Africa and Nigeria more especially. So we decided to organize this meeting to help those of you who are businessmen or those who are interested in business to know the right thing to do. From the beginning, we started with the president of Gadis Business School, Dr. Simba Charles Paula, who has handled the corporate finance at University. We try as much as we could to cover every area, every facet of business, whatever that is needed to learn that business grow. We try to bring the right people to talk to you in all of these periods that we have started this conference. Today, we are bringing in a very serious stakeholder, the issue that's affecting this country, Nigeria, the issue of gas. Our focus has been on oil, 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 oil. Nobody's talking about the issue of gas. So, a lot of people want to do very little gas business as the campaign is on already by the federal government so that the attention on oil needs to be to. So we think that it's important that we very serious stakeholder who is the advisor to the Minister of Petroleum Nigeria, Yossi Derefaka, who by reason of engagement and activity has a very serious member of the Fellowship Council, the Secretary of the Fellowship Council of Big Africa, and who is also a staff, very senior staff with the ExxonMobil Nigeria, Dr. Engineer Patrick Enam, to represent him, who also have what it takes to speak to the topic gas business in Nigeria, prospects. I believe that there are a lot of prospects in gas business in Nigeria. There are a lot of opportunities for those who want to take into the business of gas. So it's a full meeting. I believe that all that you need to know about the gas business in this country is well tailored and designed, is exposed to you. I believe that all that is needed, the opportunity you have been looking for all this while, you will find them at this meeting. So on behalf of the executive management of it, um, thank the technical advisor to the Minister of Petroleum, Joseph Derefaka, and who we are represented by Dr. Nang. I want to thank you for finding time, putting your slide and all that together. And I want to for engagements. Let me also thank you so much. Only people now have known Dr. Emma and my duty here is not to read his profile. That will be done appropriately. But let me say something about Dr. Ena is a seasoned technocrat, a seasoned engineer, PhD holder, doing very well in the oil and gas sector. A wonderful person and very supportive of what Africa is doing. A man that has a passion to ensure that businesses across Africa, has a passion in peace building, youth development, and above all community development. So let me, on behalf of the team of Africa, thank Dr. Enal, fellow of Young Engineers International Club, for also standing in the gap for the TA to the Honorable Minister for panel, all of us at the back end and the audience are very delighted and very happy to have you on board to be this meeting. God has made, God has promised you. I believe that through you, a lot of things will change in the business, in the gas business, in this country. So please assure that we have all the support to whatever you topic accordingly. And to you who are there, the participants, those who have registered, some of you have registered to participate in this event, and those who are watching live on YouTube, Facebook, and other social media. Thank you again and again for coming to be part of this event, and reassure you that we're going to do the best we can to support you when you grow your business. Because we believe that your business grows, certainly we're going to take up a lot of people off the street, which has been our campaign. Of course, you know that there's a huge challenge of unemployment, a huge challenge of unemployability. A lot of people want to work, but they're not skilled, they're not skillful, they don't have the capabilities to really get a job in the desired industry. I want you to rest assured that Youth Africa is there to support you. Whatever skill you have there, you go to our platform, sign in, we're there to support you, train you. Don't look at money first, just the passion, the desire to learn. We're there to give it us. That kind of skill that you take to the place. And for those who want to do business, we really have a platform, the Imagine Business platform. Because for us, every young man wants to work. He want to create a job. Those who are supposed to create jobs are now the ones, looking for jobs. So we have all the platform to do that. So let me thank you for being part of this event. It's going to be a robust day for us. It's suggestive, all the questions you want to ask about gas business, they are in fact will be answered. So, and again, thank you, Noble. Let me thank you, the CEO of Young Engineers International Club, and the team here, the team members. I want to thank you so much for organizing this event. I'm particularly delighted, I'm happy, and to end my speech, which very soon I'm going to do. Thank you. God bless you. I've been told that it was there for that.
Right, thank you so much, Engineer Kingston Sylvanus. Just like he has said in course of his speech, we have the privilege of having the technical advisor to the Minister of Petroleum right here. He has a very crucial meeting he needs to run to attend to, as it were, but we have requested and he has obliged us a few seconds to say hi to us, and of course he's
Hello, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you.
You're welcome, Engineer.
Thank you, Noble, and thank you, Engineer Kingston, President and YEEC. Like I did mention, my activities cannot permit me to make this presentation today and have an insightful discussion with people that want to veer into the gas business, because like you all know, gas is in thing, and like the federal government has declared a decade of gas. Last year, you all recall that we said last year was a year of gas, and it erupts a whole lot of interest in the gas space, and again in line with the national gas policy. And then we now said, okay, interests have come up, and then with the over 200 trillion cubic feet of gas that we have in this country, that much work needs to be done. And the federal government, in its wisdom, did declared a decade of gas from January 2021 to December 2030. So a lot of work, a lot of business opportunities. But again, like I did mention, I have to run now because I need to do catch up with my boss. And you are in good hands. Dr. Wisdom will, I believe, strongly will do justice to today's presentation. And I look forward to catching up with you in another session. Thank you very much, and permit me to disappear now. Thank you. Thank you, Noble.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Right, thank you so much, Engineer Justice Derefaka. Thank you so very much for that time you have spent with us. Thank you so much. I see Dr. Enang is brimming and is about to be unleashed to us. I use the word unleashed because if you were here at the last conference, you would know that he did indeed justice to the topic he handled at that time. And so, Engineer Wisdom Patrick Enang is the engineering technical lead in ExxonMobil, who will be taking us on the topic gas business in Nigeria, prospects and opportunities. But before that happens, I'd like to share just a little about engineer Dr. Wisdom Enang. He's an internationally published author in the field of engineering, disseminated by renowned international journals with renewable and sustainable energy reviews. Journal by Elsevier Publishers. He also serves as a review authority in several international journals and as a keynote speaker in various national and international conferences. We chose to make this really abridged. And so without further ado, it's my pleasure and privilege to make welcome Engineer Dr. Wisdom Enang. You're welcome, sir.
Hi. Hi, thank you very much. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you loud and clear.
Excellent. Yeah, it's a huge pleasure, really. Being called upon to step into these very big shoes to represent my friend and brother, Justice Darafaka, who is the technical advisor to the Honorable Minister for State Petroleum Resources. And when I listen to the citation that you've read about me, it's pretty humbling, and really puts me in a situation where I have the onus is on me to prove. But yeah, thank you very much. I'm very grateful and always pleased. I mean, just like Engineer Silvanos mentioned, YEC is like family to me. Anytime, any day, whether it's in the middle of the night, just call me and I'll be glad. This is one of my ways of giving back. So thank you for having me. It's a huge
Thank you very
pleasure.
much, sir.
Thank you. So today, I will be talking about gas business in Nigeria, just trying to whet our appetite, with regards to what are the prospects and what are the opportunities. You know, um, in my view, the topic is really apt and reflects the strategic objectives of the national gas policy, which seems to leverage on gas to move away from oil as a major source of the nation's income. Let me start by saying that Nigeria is a country of gas with some quantities of oil. This assertion stems boldly from the fact that most of the gas produced in Nigeria are associated and derived whilst in the conscious pursuit of oil. And nonetheless, these volumes are very competitive. Are you projecting my slides?
The slide will come up in just a few seconds.
Yeah, okay, that's fine. I'll just wait for it. Yeah, when it's ready, just let me know.
Right. It's ready, sir.
Okay, thank you. Go to the second slide, please. Okay, so let's really delve in to understand, how the gas, the gas industry in Nigeria is regulated. So it's regulated by the national gas policy, which is an institutional framework within which the Nigerian gas sector, operates. The Federal Executive Council approved the national gas policy in 2017 based on a fundamental review of the policy positions of the government over the last 10 years in respect to, 10 years prior to that point, in respect to Nigeria's gas resources. Notably, the shortcomings of the 2008 Gas Master Plan in attracting the needed private sector investments for building critical infrastructure in and attracting the needed private sector investment for building for developing and maturing the gas market by the target year of 2015. So uh, you know, when the gas master plan wasn't seen to be working the way it should have worked, the government came up with the idea, to formulate and adopt a new and better, policy thrust for the industry. So fundamentally, the national gas policy sets the goals, strategies, and implementation plan for establishing the framework within which we drive the institutional, legal, regulatory, and commercial reforms necessary for attracting investment into the gas sector. It contains a comprehensive overview of government policy objectives and steps that it plans to take towards achieving those objectives. Some of those include the reforms of governance, legislation, and regulation in the gas sector, enforcement of domestic supply obligations, which ensures that we, get a good amount of supply within the gas system in the country for the various users, physical provisions, reworking the industry structure with a focus to public-private partnerships, providing incentives and opportunities for investing in natural gas products such as the natural gas liquids, liquefied petroleum gas, and development of gas infrastructure, as well as building markets, among other priorities. As such, the strategic objectives of the national gas policy includes separating the roles and responsibility of the government from the private sector as it relates to the gas sector, implementing a full legal separation of the upstream from the midstream. So we can have players coming to the midstream. There's a clearly defined boundary and tariffs that govern the midstream, and the regulatory provisions to that effect as well. Implementation of full legal separation of gas infrastructure ownership, operations, and trading, so you can have different participants within the various spaces and the value chains of the midstream. Establishment of a single independent petroleum regulatory authority, optimization of liquefied natural gas international downstream value, a pursuit of project-based approach rather than a centrally planned model for domestic gas development, identification of new gas resources from the Niger Delta, offshore inland basins, and at the same time aiming to achieve a reduction in gas flaring. Now, next slide, please. Waiting for the next slide to come up. Thank you. Nigeria currently has 203.2 estimated trillion cubic feet of proven gas reserves, which indicates a 0.7% increase for that data from the 2019 data. And it currently positions as the ninth largest known natural gas reserve in the world and the fifth largest exporter of LNGs globally. Nigeria's crude and oil gas exports account for 94% of the country's foreign exchange earnings and only 8.73% of the country's GDP. According to estimates by the Energy Information Administration, Nigeria produces an estimated 1.6 trillion cubic feet of dry natural gas, which is gas, marketed natural gas production in a year. And at the rate of production, it would take about 127 years to exhaust the country's current gas reserves. And that really speaks to when I said earlier that Nigeria is has an abundant reserve of gas, even compared to the oil, I would dare to say. Gas flaring still occurs in significant quantities, and approximately 11% of the total produced volume is flared. And this occurs with much of the country's natural gas being a mark for the export market. Domestic consumption occurs at approximately 14%. And much of that volume is actually consumed by the power sector. Next slide, please. Thank you. So, to discourage gas flaring and instead encourage the expansion of domestic gas supplies, the Nigerian government has implemented a two-pronged approach: the regulatory approach and the commercial approach. Within the regulatory framework, laws are provided to guide the production, utilization, and flaring of gas within the Nigerian petroleum sector. For example, the 1979 Associated Gas Reinjection Act compels every company producing oil and gas in Nigeria to submit preliminary programs and detailed plans for gas reinjection. It also regulates gas flaring by oil and gas companies in Nigeria. The 1992 Environmental Impact Assessment Act sets out principles, procedures, and methods to enable consideration of environmental impact assessment on certain public or private projects. The 2018 Flare Gas Prevention of Waste and Pollution Regulations introduces the polluter pay principle to gas flaring, which is similar to carbon tax abroad. It imposes significant obligations regarding reporting gas flaring activities. It mandates government access to all flare gas free of cost and without royalties. The commercial approach, on the other hand, so that's just a regulatory approach. The commercial approach, on the other hand, includes the Nigerian Gas Flare Commercialization Program and the Nigerian Gas Expansion Program, which are the implementation tools of the National Gas Policy. The Nigerian Gas Flare Commercialization Program is designed to eliminate routine and non-routine gas flaring through technically and commercially viable gas utilization projects developed by competent third-party investors. The federal government takes associated gas at the flare site free of charge and without payment of royalties, bids these volumes out to third parties in a series of um, auctions. The third parties will then propose projects and are selected on the basis of technical and financial qualifications, soundness of projects, proposals, and several other criteria. Bidders have the flexibility of the flat sites which they want to bid for, the gas price, and the end market product, as well as the technology to be used. The Nigerian gas flare commercialization program is expected at full implementation to benefit the Niger Delta communities, positively impact the Nigerian economy, present a market-driven solution for flare elimination, and through research, it's been found that this is going to be the largest and most widely implemented, sort of market-driven approach to ending gas flaring in the world. And it would promise some bankable, returns for investors and lenders. Just looking, kind of, looking at what the benefits are going to be for the masses, we're looking at 300,000 direct and indirect employment once that's ready, elimination of about 22 million tons of CO2, attraction of about $3 billion in foreign direct investment, and the provision of 6 million households with access to cheap energy. Following recent global crude oil price fluctuations and the deregulation in the Nigerian downstream sector regarding the premium motor spirit (PMS), or popularly known as petrol, the federal government has turned its attention towards an affordable alternative for energy. So the newly introduced Nigerian gas expansion program, introduced on the 1st of December 2020, is simply a plan to make life easier for Nigerians with the provision of three alternative fuels: the LPG, the CNG, and LNG as transportation options, for transportation, industrial, and domestic use. The Nigerian gas expansion program objective is therefore to reinforce and expand gas supply as well as stimulate demand in the country through the effective and efficient mobilization and utilization of all available asset resources and infrastructure in the country. The Nigerian Gas Transportation Network Code and the proposed PIB regulatory provisions works to complement the national gas policy. For example, the Nigerian Gas Transportation Network Code, or simply what is termed as the code, provides a common set of rules that will govern fair and transparent gas shipper transportation relationship in Nigeria. Guaranteeing secure, available, and reliable safe gas transmission system, ensuring cost-reflective tariff for pipeline service. So, indeed, sort of separating, the midstream from the upstream, where there could be a midstream player coming in to do an investment, is clear about what the tariffs are and what the internal return on that investment would be. Supporting the development of mature gas markets and providing mechanisms for effective handling of contractual disputes. Next slide, please. Electric power generation remains the biggest consumer of domestic gas in Nigeria today. Much of the other domestic consumers, for example, the domestic heavy industry, light industry, and transportation industry, remains largely underdeveloped to date. Much of this is expected to change as the Nigerian gas expansion program has been designed specifically to provide the imperatives for boosting domestic gas consumption. Next slide, please. So, just to put it in context, an estimated 43 million tons of CO2 emissions is released from Nigeria's household fuels yearly. The use of firewood, which still occurs at the rate of 56% today, accounts for more than 85% of estimated annual emissions volume from the household fuels. It is estimated that Nigeria can eliminate 15 million tons of CO2 emissions over the next 10 years by doubling its LPG usage. Currently, the average consumption per capita of LPG in Nigeria is 3 kg per person, which is significantly lower than the African average value of 11 kg per person. A comparison of both numbers provides an insight into the challenges that the just introduced Nigerian gas expansion program needs to overcome. Next slide, please. By comparing the LPG proliferation strategies of other developing nations like Brazil, Indonesia, Senegal, and Ghana, it becomes immediately clear that for such an initiative to work in Nigeria, which is one of the objectives of the Nigerian gas expansion program, the following imperatives are required. So one of it is the introduction of a consumer credit product for LPG subsidy on gas and the cylinders to make it affordable, fiscal incentives, tax and duty free on LPG equipment importation, set up of national LPG fund to absorb key sector costs, aggressive communication and consumer education programs. Next slide, please. So let's have a look at some of those known challenges that previously were militating against the development of natural gas for domestic use in Nigeria. So on one hand, we have the capital intensive underinvestment, delayed delivery of pipelines, infrastructure, and the poor pipeline network that we have, which are not strategically constructed. Then we have lack of cost-reflective tariffs and huge debts in the power sector, which is actually the biggest consumer of domestic gas. So just in context, 36% of every 10 naira worth of electricity sold remained unpaid as of 2018. Lack of clear gas physical terms for the production sharing contracts and delay in the passage of the Petroleum Industry Bill, which has reduced investor confidence and crippled investments in the sector. Foreign exchange rates due to revenues received in naira against dollar-based investments with the risk of foreign loans due to volatility. High loan interest rates, as well as delays in the JV funding, which makes it difficult to fund capital-intensive projects and long-term gas projects. Non-bankable off-take agreements and lack of a properly lack of sanctity of contractual agreements. It is against the backdrop of these known challenges that several mitigating reforms have been implemented to fix existing domestic gas value chain market frictions in a way that complements the national gas policy. For example, the Nigerian gas flare commercialization program at full implementation will provide the much needed commercial gas volumes to drive Nigeria's industrial development. The Nigerian gas flare commercialization program would also complement would also be complemented with the naira-based funding from the just constituted Central Bank of Nigeria Intervention Fund for National Gas Expansion Program. So there are funds available and they're naira-based. So if the tariffs are naira-based and the gas prices are naira-based, then of course that makes sense. It's apple for apple. The Similarly, the provision of legal and contractual frameworks for gas transportation uh, pipelines with cost-reflective tariffs under the National Gas Transportation Network Code is expected to boost private sector participation in gas pipeline construction. So this is, when there are tariffs, and from what I researched, the internal return rates for most of the pipeline investment at the current tariffs are at 15%. And that's decent enough, for, investment recovery. So that it is expected that that would boost, the influx of private investors into, gas pipeline construction. The network code, additionally, the recent increase in electricity tariff is expected to result in a cost reflective tariff, which ensures that the power sector is able to comfortably pay for their gas offtake agreements. The PIB 2020, I call it 2020 because there are other versions previously. The 2021 is the one that is currently under review at the National Assembly. It holds the key to solving a significant number of problems facing the Nigerian gas sector. For example, within the PIB 2020, which I've personally read some of those provisions, there are improved and competitive gas prices which are proposed for the power and consumer sectors, for the power and commercial consumer sectors. Similarly, there are inclusions of take or pay regulatory provisions with contract termination rights, that which clearly, brings up enforceable domestic supply obligations in the, within the framework, and it would help to enforce sanctity of contract and, and by extension sustain gas supply. Industry experts, having reviewed the PIB provisions for the current one, says that it has huge potential to reform and boost the Nigerian gas sector, and indeed the entire petroleum sector at large. This assertion goes well beyond the economic and physical aspects of the bill and extends to aspects related to the relationship with host communities, which is envisaged to improve significantly if the associated provisions of the proposed bills are implemented and stewarded closely. Next slide, please. To put into context the journey that lies ahead for Nigeria when it comes to gas infrastructure and pipeline construction, let us take a comparative look at the Niger Delta region and the North Sea region, both of which hold commercial gas volumes. With 190 trillion cubic feet of gas, which has now been reviewed, as at the time this was 190, but it's now been proven to have about 203. The Niger Delta has approximately 7,500 kilometers of gas pipelines. Conversely, the North Sea has about 43,000 kilometers of pipelines with just 117 trillion cubic feet of gas reserves. So we just have a fraction of what they have. And so we have a lot of catch up. It is estimated that Nigeria would need more than 30,000 kilometers of gas pipelines to fully unlock its domestic gas industrialization potentials. Next slide, please. Okay. Although Nigeria still has a long way to go when it comes to gas pipeline construction, there are some notable strides in the right direction, which are highly commendable, and they provide the right confidence to investors. For example, the construction of the ongoing 614-kilometer long AKK natural gas pipeline, which has a capacity of 1,600 million scf per day. And the AKK project, is part of a broader trans Nigeria gas pipeline development, which is included in the gas infrastructure blueprint of Nigeria. The 1,300-kilometer long trans Nigeria gas pipeline will have three sections featuring various diameters from 36-inch to 40-inch. The first section of it is the AKK pipeline under construction, and there are also four other pipelines currently being constructed, which will further boost gas supplies to various parts of the country and various industrial gas users. Next slide, please. Some of these includes the CTMS pipeline, the ELPS-2 pipeline, and the OB3 gas pipeline, which are almost completed, as well as the Odidi Warri gas pipeline expansion project, which is also being progressed. Next slide, please. Okay. So, strategic construction of pipelines are not just, constructing it in a kind of unstrategic fashion is what is required, and I say that because it's an imperative for unlocking optimal gas volumes from the various reserves. And this could be achieved through the implementation of the following recommendations, which I put forth. Development of central gas gathering and processing facilities in the Delta, Rivers, and Akwa Ibom State region for treating wet gas, extracting the liquefied petroleum gas, natural gas liquids, and exporting lean gas into transmission systems. Construction of pipeline infrastructures to tie in most of the shallow to medium depth offshore gas resources, which are otherwise left stranded, and they are fled as a result. Development of gas pipeline transmission systems and gas compression stations to efficiently distribute gas to areas of need in country. The use of scalable, containerized, skid-mounted, batch-type plug-and-play technologies, such as the virtual pipeline, as well as the compressed natural gas trucks. Provision of functional gas aggregators with storage facilities where oil and gas companies can send their gas directly to. And I'm pleased to inform that this recommendation actually has already been implemented and is already being covered by the PIB 2020 that is currently with the National Assembly. Next slide, please. So, just a quick review of the PIB relating to domestic gas sector. The domestic gas sector shows that the right provisions are provided to cover some of those key challenging areas which were impeding investment, such as gas pricing, sanctity of contracts, the required regulatory framework for supply, demand, and funding. As such, clinical implementation and stewardship of these provisions are therefore imperatives for realizing the goal of stimulating growth within the Nigerian domestic gas sector. Next slide, please. So, in the remaining slides, I will be taking us through the proposed gas prices, domestic gas prices within the petroleum industry bill, the one that is still being reviewed, and what impact that has on expected volumes, gas projects, and the future of the Nigerian gas sector. The proposed gas prices certainly reflects the government's core objective of sheltering gas-based industries and stimulating growth within the domestic gas sector at large. By sheltering, I simply mean that trying to ring fence the industry against the effect of price fluctuations because they are still premature and trying to come up. These gas-based prices are determined at the marketable delivery point, which is the first point where gas has the specification for pipeline transportation. While gas price for power at the commercial sector is linked to the gas-based price, the price for gas-based industries are linked to the end product and can be as low as 1.5 million British thermal units. The government have also made provision for gas-based price reviews if required to bring adequate supply forward on an economic basis. Next slide, please. To fully understand what the proposed gas-based pricing structure means for the domestic gas sector, we must first understand the conflicting objectives to be optimized by the gas pricing structure. Typical obtainable gas-based pricing models include the free model, which is based on demand and supply, a cost-based pricing model, which is based on investments that are made, opportunity cost-based pricing, which is based on the export markets, and which most of these come with their benefits and their drawback. One plausible approach to striking a balance between the advantage of the foregoing methods whilst attenuating their drawbacks is the use of a hybrid pricing model, which establishes a trade-off on competing but conflicting priorities, similar to what is currently proposed by the PIB 2020 for the Nigerian domestic gas market. Preliminary economic analysis of the proposed pricing on new gas projects shows that whilst the gas sector pricing favors the development of low-cost associated gas fields, domestic supply obligations are critical for the growth of gas-based domestic industries. And that's simply because these industries are still coming up. The prices of gas for those industries are not attractive to gas producers. So you will need a domestic supply obligation to make sure that there's a healthy volume of gas going to the gas-based industries. Next slide, please. From a conservative economic standpoint, based on the current set gas-based prices, we can expect to see a minor increase in the supply to the domestic market in response to the increased domestic gas prices from existing oil and gas producers. We also expect to see the development of a few onshore gas processing plants near existing users. The development of non-associated dry gas fields will remain unattractive at the current prices. Higher domestic gas prices, when the market fundamentals permit, is the investment holy grail required to unlock such investments. Next slide, please. Some of the most profitable gas investment opportunities available in Nigeria today includes the Nigerian gas flare commercialization program, development of gas-based industries like gas to power, fertilizer, petrochemicals, which would benefit from the strategically set low domestic gas prices for gas-based industries. The construction of, some of one example of one of such projects is the construction of LNG and CNG plants. Just increasing the gas processing facilities in countries, and that's because of the separation between the midstream and the upstream. There is that provision for a commercially viable, setup of these gas processing plants and pipeline construction. So those are, some of the profitable investments that have been looked at. And the tariffs that are, you know, um, given to some of these investments are being calculated on an internal return rate of 15%, which is a decent return. Next slide, please. Right. So let me end the presentation by stating that the Nigerian gas sector is blessed with promising investment opportunities, particularly as the government policy drive indicates a gas play rather than an oil play. The investment prospects are expected to improve even further as the Nigerian gas sector further matures to the point where domestic gas prices are market driven on a willing buyer, willing seller basis. And we hope that this transition will happen in the shortest possible time. Thank you very much, and God bless you.
Can you hear me, sir?
Yes, I can hear you loud and clear.
Oh, thank you very much. Okay, so that's a question from Susan. Is gas filling business profitable in Nigeria?
Okay, so I'm going to answer to say it's marginally profitable, but that is going to improve as this we have more volume circulating in the market. So it depends on what you call profitable. It gives a decent return, but as I read earlier, and I kind of passed on the same thoughts, right? There's still a lot to go to improve that margin of profitability, which characterizes the recommendations that I have provided, which will be channeled up to the government on how they are working out their Nigerian gas expansion program, because this is essentially under the gas expansion program. So I would say the profitability is there and would only look to be better as these recommendations are taken on board, and there are financial incentives and buffers provided by the government for anyone participating in this business. Um,
Yes, that's the next question.
yeah, okay. What are the fees payable to the government during? I don't quite have that detail. That's the truth, because during the auction process, you know, so I know that the government takes that gas, at at the from the producers free of charge without royalties. But if you're asking what anyone would pay to get the gas, I think there's a base gas price of about 2.5 dollar per cubic foot. Sorry, pay $2.5 per. Uh, Let me just check. I think it's. Let me just check that again, because I used to have that number, but I'll check. I'll get back to you. Let me just check those numbers. I will get back to you.
Okay, sir. All right. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Okay, so there's another here while we try to figure that out.
If a gas producer has. Oh, yes. So we did it. Okay. Um, so there is a framework that allows the government is the producers to have their direct engagements, so they can actually source for their own commercial agreements to uptake their own gas. So it's not always that they have to go through the Nigerian gas flare commercialization program. Now, the process of withdrawing, I don't have that information, because you have to also understand that to have that information means that I'm deeply involved in the gas flare commercialization program, which I don't. I mean, a lot of this is exploratory research. So I do know there are provisions, but again, I'm not aware how you can withdraw yourself from the program once you're already there. What I do know is that you may be able to withdraw just before the license is being issued, um, but I'm not aware afterwards. So I don't have that information, unfortunately. But I know there are provisions for operators to directly engage with, with their own customer base and get those agreements in place, if that's what they need. Okay, what are the driving principles for um, the Nigerian gas flare commercialization program? So it's just effectively, as I said, looking at what is a commercial way to sort of take our gas that is being currently flared and make some money out of it in a way that boosts the economy. So those are kind of the principles where it's currently being flared. So it's like a win-win situation, because you save the operators from the nuisance of gas flaring, and you also monetize that. Plus, you grow your economy. So those are the driving principles that govern that program. I
Oh, okay. Can you hear me, sir?
Yeah.
Yes, I'm particularly interested in the gas commercialization, especially domestic consumption. It's my interest because over the years, most of the gas development project has been centered towards the industry. Of course, either gas-based industry or let's say the LNG. Nobody's really talking about the nobody seems to be talking so much about the domestic consumption of natural gas. So but I saw the PIB 2020 you were talking about, and I didn't see a place for research and development. I'm asking this because of my interest in gas. I'm a PhD student in natural gas engineering, and we see that gas is the future. Yet we don't. I'm not seeing me there. Do I have a case? Why are there no funds for research and development? Do I have a case?
Okay, so here's what I'm going to say, right? As I said, I try to answer based on what I know best. um, I do. So we have funds for the national gas expansion, the Nigerian gas expansion program, and that's from the central bank. And I think they're giving about up to 10 billion for gas projects. Within that framework of your gas projects, I'm sure you could factor in your research development, but it's just going to be a bankable project. If you're talking about research in the PhD sense of, okay, we're doing research and we're not sure whether this is going to be bankable or not, then I don't know of those funds now. But if you have a project that seems bankable by all economic fundamentals, then of course the central bank has a Naira-led initiative to accommodate that under the uh, Nigerian gas expansion program. Just to go back to the other question, talking about the floor price for the Nigerian gas flare commercialization program is actually a quarter of a dollar for 1,000 standard cubic feet of gas. I just got that information. I didn't want to give the wrong figure, so it's a quarter of a dollar, $0.25. Right. Okay. So, what happens when a producer shuts down operations for scheduled activities and the uh, gas flare commercialization program project is affected? Okay, so what I think is this: the so you have your domestic obligations that you're going to supply, and within the pipeline network or within even the supply base, there are other gas producers. So just think about, if you're speaking as an operator, what happens when you want to shut down one of your assets? What simply, and then you have a stewardship of the volumes that you need to meet as part of your commitment to the national, crude volumes. You have one of your facilities or another facility of yours boost their production to make up for what is lost. Or if it's not the case, there's another, they make it up from another source. I believe that's the same thing that will occur. Once you have to go down for for any maintenance purposes and you have a commitment, then of course there are other gas producers that can make that up if you cannot make it from another field. I strongly believe that it's not going to be too rigid as long as you meet your domestic obligations, supply obligations.
All right. We're trying to import a few questions on the comment section that a few persons have asked, just about two or three of them, if you don't
Okay.
mind. Our audience seems to be asking very specific questions. I hope they are not mistaking you for the Minister of Petroleum.
As I said, I would answer to the best of what information I have based on exploratory research. To fully have an answer, you would almost certainly need to be the one designing the program, which I'm not.
Yeah, true. Very true.
So, okay, so what assurance will the bidders have for long-term gas delivery? As I said, so let's look at the mechanism driving gas supply in a sustainable way. And that's the supply, the fact that, so there are three components that strikes me. The fact that you can engage an operator directly and discuss your own dealings. The fact that, the prices are now looking better. And also the fact that, there is a domestic supply obligation, which, by the way, is determined based on the gas demand. That is being estimated gas demand. So if you put all this together, it's almost sacrosanct that the only problem I see is that some intending operators or production facilities may not have in the near term may not have the facility or the infrastructure to send this gas, and that's why one of my recommendation is that we explore the use of virtual pipelines. So as for the gas volumes, there. I mean, if they're being fled, they are available. The mechanism is the bone of contention is then how to get this gas to the people that need it. And as I mentioned, those mechanisms are in place from the PIB to facilitate that. And I do also recommend exploring, because I mean, I talk about gas pipelines, but they are not going to be constructed overnight. So what is the interim or transition plan in place? And that's why I say off-takers should, be looking at, leveraging on the CNG, the virtual pipeline technology to get the gas volumes. But I don't see any problems as related to gas supply because it's being fledged. Okay. Is there minimum gas volume that can be offered? I don't have the answer to this particular question. What I'll do is I will check with the technical advisor of the Honorable Minister and revert. I do not have this answer. But just to say, right, if I want to attempt this question, let's just take a look at, you have a flare, everyone has a flare site that is provided to them. And you have the offtake volumes, the whatever volumes that is being flared, you kind of have those volumes provided for you. So I don't know that there's a minimum, but I will find out and let you know. Because again, that question will then come: what happens when your flare site is not able to give you those volumes for various reasons? Maybe a shutdown. It depends if it's a single flare point for a facility, then of course, when they shut down, you can't have that. But that would just be factored under some of the considerations of the business itself. But nonetheless, I will find out if there's a minimum, volume of gas. I've got that question noted, and I'll get back to you. Um, so I mean, the commercialization program, right, is basically it has to do with just of taking the gas, processing it, giving it of taking the gas really and giving it to some gas processing or transportation um, players who are then going to get those gas into the markets that need them. So I think you want to be leaning more on the support for those various industries, like as I said, the gas-based industries, for example, are not provisioned within the commercialization program. They're actually provisioned, you know, within the when you're looking at the within the PIB, because what they've done is there is the pricing, sort of buffer that protects these industries to support them. So if that's what you're asking, that okay, you want to offtake gas, again, let's think about this holistically. None of the policies are undermining each other; they're actually complementing each other. So what I would say to you is that the prices, as I said, for gas-based industries are provided to shelter those industries because they're still coming up. They need those supports. The obligations are also provided to ensure that the right support and supply volumes are provided to those industries. So there is indeed support in the overall national gas policy. But I would like to look at it working together. They're all working together. It's not like NGFCP has its own and this one has its own. They're all in tandem.
Right. Thank you so much, Doc. There are just a few more questions, about two or three of them that is left, but we'll just be back in a few seconds to
Okay.
continue from there.
Okay.
I had some tantrums of saying, I can't do. I had some.
All right, welcome, Dr. Enang. I don't want to get too personal because this particular discussion on the gas business is something I've been so interested in, at least in the last 4 years. Just like I had hinted, I've been on the research on natural gas transportation, especially through pipeline. And quite frankly, I'm amazed at some of the data that you pulled out in course of this presentation. And I'm particularly interested in a few of them. And I have some arguments, I have some questions, I have some reservations too in the petroleum industry bill under review. But of course, that's not a debate we would want to start here. I wish the Minister of Petroleum, not the technical advisor, the Minister. Let's switch. I would have been able to ask some very specific questions on that. But if I may ask, what's the current stage of the AKK project, the Ajukuta Kaduna Kano project? Any news on that?
Oh yeah, it's actually under construction right now. It's actually, it's funny you ask this question, right? Because I
Yes,
belong to the
instruction.
I belong to the engineering, design and construction world, and
Oh,
I
okay.
do have friends that are actively working on that project. They're actually working on it currently. So there are a number of players,
Oh,
working from, yeah, there are a number of, companies that are working on that project, but it's under construction right now.
wow.
As a,
That's
as a matter of fact, I'll put it, the some of the pipeline lane has gone, has really kicked off, and they're already doing NDT on the weld joints across, across the various weld joints on the pipeline. So yes, it's very much in the
wow.
way. I have colleagues that are actively working on that project.
Wow, that's serious good news for the gas industry. But for me, if the Nigeria Gas Master Plan must see the light of day, we must channel a lot of focus on domestic consumption because we have the number, we have the resources, and the best I saw is domestic consumption. Maybe
Yeah,
I'm not, I don't have access to the documents you have, but for me, it's a very exciting one. And there's a lot of R&D prospects in that direction.
yes. I mean, if you are talking about domestic consumption, I totally agree, because of the net effect it has in the and the government is aware. So I can tell you for free, you don't look at all the policy directions and not think that there is no conscious effort towards this. What I can tell you is that there is an honest conversation, um, you know, between the government is having itself to say, okay, has our program worked? The gas master plan we have, did it work? And if it didn't work, what are we going to change? And that's part of what I said, that the national gas policy actually came as a result of that. When they looked at it and the master plan did not work properly, they said, okay, well, how do we do this? And one of that was trying to make it a kind of a private sector led intervention. And that's when you now see some of the when you see some of the implementation tools that are being rolled out, the gas flare commercialization program, which is the first in the world on that scale to roll out the commercialization of flares in a profitable way. When you also see the gas expansion program, so there's a conscious effort. What I would say is, yes, the past has not been what we expected, but I would rather focus on what the recovery plan is. And I can tell you that the policy drive shows that there is a recovery plan. For example, there was a constant complaint about you having gas investments in dollars and charging tariffs in naira, and now the central bank has now got the funds for those gas projects in naira based. So there's that drive. It can only get better. I like to look at the glass as half full as opposed to half empty. It can only get better. There's a unanimous convergence on the fact that gas development and domestic consumption remains sacrosanct to our to our development as a country. I can tell you that we are getting there. There's improvement. We should applaud ourselves that we've kind of picked up from the slumber, and we've gone through those lessons because of what is happening in the oil market and the oil prices. So there is that improvement and consciousness currently.
Well, that's serious good news. That's serious good news for the nation and for in my opinion, for the world at large, because of course, flaring has its own impact or contribution to global warming. Thank you so much, Dr. Enang. It's been a very educative session with you.
Yeah, it's a huge pleasure. And if there are questions that I was not able to provide answers to because of the fact that I didn't design the NGFCP myself, then please, you know, you can only share, and I will get you those answers. The only other thing that I'm really passionate and excited about is, and I will be doing a presentation soon on that, is when we're looking at gas, then of course there are all the prospects of, okay, carbon capture, what is the future of the oil and gas, blue hydrogen farming, carbon sequestration, and the various technologies that comes with that. So it's an exciting thing. And so when you talk about research, I would implore that, sometimes when opportunities does not knock, you want to build a door. There's nothing wrong with going into those research and going out a bespoke and implementable plan for the country. I think that is something that I would dare to say in this case we would defy economic principles whereby we will now have supply driving demand. So I will encourage anybody that has research abilities to go into such research. We need it. As we speak about gas, it will become very clear that we would and this is happening at a time where there is this drive to renewable or cleaner energy, as we would say. So that focus must remain very active in our minds as we continue to explore the potentials of gas for industrialization in Nigeria.
Okay, Dr. Enang, before we let you go, just just a few things we would want to engage you with after this short commercial.
Partnership Club. The young he said, hello, my name is Engineer Kingston Silvanos, the Partnership Club, popularly called League Africa. We are re-engineering the minds of the young people and engaging them in entrepreneurship so that we can industrialize Africa. We have identified unemployability, which is lack of skill set, unemployment, and access to funding for startup businesses as the bane of societal advancement, which dovetails into militancy, kidnapping, prostitution. That's the for the period of civil continent.
Right? Well, welcome back, Dr. Enang. It's good to have you here again. Thank you so much for your patience, Dr. Enang. We are short of words. We are short of words with respect to your availability, your passion, and your desire to give back to the society. We want to say a very big thank you to you. We want to thank you for the knowledge you have shared. We want to say we do not take this for granted at all. We recognize the fact that this is real value you're giving. Personally, I'm excited. I've been educated. I know a little more, and maybe on a personal note, I know who to hold by the leg, if you permit, for some data and information, as it were. Thank you so very much. The president and founder of the Young Engineers Entrepreneurship Club, want to give a vote of thanks. But prior to that time, I want to say that on behalf of everyone here, on behalf of everyone who have participated in this program, we want to say a very, very big thank you to you. Thank you so much for all that you have shared with us. Thank you for your availability. Thank you for your patience and the time you have put in. But before the vote of thanks by the president, we would want to ask, are there any parting words? Probably for the federal government. I don't want to be too forward. Probably for the federal government, probably for all the stakeholders, because I have major concerns. We shouldn't be having light problems with the volume of gas that we have right now. But of course, just like you were saying, we need to be patient with them. Any parting words, sir?
Yeah, I mean, again, my parting word is going to be patience from everybody. If you're talking about light, right, you got to also think about down the value chain of light, from the generation to the transmission. We have obsolete equipment. So, what are you going to do? Generate and put it through where? Where are you going to pass that through? So, um, I think it's going to be so. So, what I would say is the reforms that we're looking at is going to bite us in the pocket, each and every one. We have to be ready. Yes. When I look at my electricity tariff, it has gone up so much that I'm paying, compared to what I used to pay, maybe 10,000. I'm now paying 35,000 for my for my electricity tariff. What does that mean? It means that the increase in tariff will allow the electricity company to be able to buy gas, and by extension will allow whoever is coming into gas business to make some money. So ultimately, you and I have to pay for that. You have to be the change you want to see. So the word is more to the consumers to prepare their minds that whatever change you want to see, you want companies to come and flourish and hire people from your family, you have to pay for it. It doesn't come out of thin air. Then the second thing, to the government is, yes, we have had a series of reform drives, and frankly, a lot of people are exhausted. Now we do believe that there is that conscious drive to get it right this time. We can only advise that they clinically implement those provisions which have been designed. They should review some of them that need a bit of optimization, and certainly we work very closely the implementation of all the terms, because this is what will give confidence. We, the when there's a consensus by the various experts that the PIB holds the key to unlocking the investments needed in the oil and gas sector, they're not wrong. That's absolutely true. So we just need to get on with it, and then get this over, and then move on to grow our, as you said, the domestic industry, which is needed. The far-reaching multiplier effect is really, really much. With that, as opposed to just exporting.
So thank you very much once again. And so the president is set to come up in just a few seconds.
Thank you.
now, you can see we are talking the issue of gas. We just have a power issue, power challenge, and you can see how we're doing, whatever we're doing to ensure that we get this program running. The PhD is giving us a lot of challenges, and our private gen is also giving us challenges. So you can see how we're trying to make sure this country work. There's no excuse. We have a duty to make this country work, just as we are trying to make this program work. It is obvious that ordinarily we would have said, okay, because of power, challenges and all of that, okay, let's close it down. But yet we're making every effort to ensure that it works. Everybody, the team, everybody's on their phones and all of that, because the big generator is packed down, the NEPA is packed down, and we're trying to make it work. So this country must work if we deliberately want to make it work. That's what I'm trying to say. If you decide that Nigeria will work again, it will work. If we decide that Africa will move forward, Africa will move forward. So thank you, Dr. Enang, and your friend and brother, engineer Joseph, who also provided support also to talk to Nigerians and Africans in the view of building solid business when it comes to gas. We want to say a very big thank you. We have about 5 questions we will send to you behind the stage to you, and we believe that you send it to the appropriate quarters for answers. Then we will communicate to those who ask the question, because they really want to know some of these issues they always listen and heard on the radio and all of that, and feel that it's an opportunity for them to hear from the horse's mouth. And so we'll communicate those questions. We'll send 2 questions across to you. Nigerians, Africans, we're here trying to make this country work. Join us to make it work. That is my own vote of thanks this afternoon. We're trying to make it work. Join us to make it work. You are in the industry, you are a religious leader, you are a traditional ruler, you are a young girl or young boy on the streets, you are a student. All of us must put our hands on deck to make this country work. Thank every one of you. Thank the crew. I thank the crew, the CEO of ICA Africa, and every other person out there who has been part of this event. Thank you, and God bless you all.
Thank you so very much, Engineer Kingston. Thank you so much, Dr. Enang, for your time. Special thanks goes to the technical advisor to the Minister of State Petroleum. We're so very grateful. Thanks to the audience. Thank you so much, and God bless you all. Bye for now. I want to say a very big thank you to all of you who have been patiently waiting and patiently participating in this program. I'm sure there's so much you have learned, so much has been added to you, and of course, so much to run with. If there are independent investors, and of course investors who are interested in knowing the current demography of the gas industry in Nigeria, I'm sure this program did justice to that. Thank you so very much. I want to say a very big thank you to all of you. I want to say YIC Africa truly is concerned about your welfare, is concerned about the development of Nigeria and Africa at large. I want to use this opportunity to invite you to participate in the YIC Africa Youth Skills Festival. The Youth Skills Festival is a program that is designed by the Young Engineers Entrepreneurship Club towards empowering, training, mentoring, empowering, and establishing 100,000 Nigerians. And so what we need is for 10 million Nigerians to simply donate 1,000 naira or $3 each. And of course, 10,000 Nigerians will be taken off the street. We need volunteers and of course, applicants who desire to be trained, because the special focus is on the indigent youths of Nigeria. To know more about this program and of course to contribute your own quota, please I'd say visit www.yeekskillsfestival.com www.yeekskillsfestival.com. And of course, every other information to reach us with is on the website as well as that which will be displayed on your screen. Thank you.
A pastor and an etiquette consultant, and I'm here to witness the induction of trainees being trained by YEEC. I believe in the youth, and I believe that through the programs being provided by the YEEC and the OIC combined, collaborating through the different programs that we have, the professional therapy, or many professional courses that are being done. I will encourage every single for these trainings and to be empowered. My expectations is that we would have youths who have been empowered to be able to use their skills and their abilities to better their lives and to better our nation. I believe that by the time you've attended any of these trainings or a combination of the trainings, your life will be better for it. Nobody has your future. Your future is in your hands, and your future can start when you're trained by YEEC.
Hello, my name is Untitled Chapter, the founder of Young Engineers Entrepreneurship, popularly called Cafe. We are re-engineering the minds of the young people and engaging them in entrepreneurship so that we can industrialize Africa. We have identified unemployability, which is lack of skill set, unemployment, and access to funding for startup businesses, paying crisis. Calibrate high are most likely to get involved.